a funny story. My sister-in-law, by happenstance, happened to run into somebody who worked for one of the sports books, and she said, Joe Duffy is my brother-in-law. And he responded, yes, I know Joe Duffy. For his videos and podcasts, he always says, Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. Let's get to this podcast for what is now round 2, the round of 64, the Thursday games. Trends in the old score phone style reports. All records are against the spread, so let's get straight to it. Valparaiso and Michigan State. Valpo 7-1 following a spread loss. Michigan State 3-7 following a spread loss. 1-5 on neutral courts. 1-5 outside the conference. Bucknell and Butler. Bucknell 2-9 in non-conference games. 2-8 against teams with a winning percentage of 600 or above, 2-9 against teams with a winning record, and they are 0-6 following a straight-up win. Meanwhile, Butler 12-3 following a spread loss, 16-5 in the NCAA Tournament, 35-16 on neutral courts. Wichita State against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is 2-7 in the NCAA Tournament. New Mexico State and St. Louis. Mexico State 35-17 following a spread win. St. Louis is 17-4 following a straight-up win, 20-5 following a spread win, 20-7 against teams with a winning record. St. Mary's and Memphis. Memphis 15-35 outside the conference, 3-7 in neutral court games. Davidson against Marquette. Davidson 3-8 to the Big East. Marquette 5-11 outside the conference. Southern and Gonzaga. Gonzaga is 1-7 following a spread win. Oregon versus Oklahoma State. Oregon 4-11 overall run. Oklahoma State 2-11 against teams with a winning percentage of above 600. Remember, for all the spread winners throughout March Madness, baseball season, and beyond, it's OffshoreInsiders.com with me, Joe Duffy. I am the anchor of OffshoreInsiders.com with my picks at God's Tips, which traces its roots back to the score phone days. www.offshoreinsiders.com. Now we take a look at the nighttime card. North Carolina A&T versus Louisville. North Carolina A&T is 8-1 following a spread win, 7-1 overall run. Louisville has also cashed in 7 straight. They're 16-5 on neutral courts, 25-9 following a spread win, and a stunning 41-19 following a straight-up win. Denver against Maryland. Denver is 12-3 off of a straight-up win, but 17-35 on the road, 19-44 against teams with a winning home record, 14-44 on the road against teams with a winning percentage greater than 600. South Dakota State and Michigan. South Dakota is 6-1 against teams with a winning percentage of 600 or above. Listen to this, folks. Sit down. Michigan 22-4 on Thursdays. 2-7, though, following a spread loss. 2-10 overall. 1-7 against teams with a winning percentage of 600 or above. Belmont against Arizona. Belmont against Arizona. Belmont is 3-13 on neutral sites. Arizona 3-10 against teams with a winning percentage of 600 or above. California and UNLV. The Golden Bears, 2-9, following a double-digit home loss. Meanwhile, UNLV is 7-15 overall skid. Akron versus Virginia Commonwealth. The Zips, 7-1 on Thursdays, 12-3 on neutral sites, 34-16 versus teams with a winning record. Virginia Commonwealth, 11-1 in the NCAA Tournament, 3-7 following a spread loss. Also, Harvard and New Mexico. Harvard 16-36 following a spread loss. New Mexico is 4-0 on Thursdays, but 9-2 on neutral courts. 42-18 overall run. Montana versus Syracuse. The Grizzlies, 7-0 overall run. Meanwhile, Syracuse, 7-2 outside the conference, but 2-6 against teams with a winning percentage of 600 or above. Remember, offshoreinsiders.com, all the stuff you need. You want to get our Twitter feed, Facebook, YouTube, podcast, Rebel Mouse, and a whole heck of a lot more. Free picks. Visit it all. Check out the left rail, both rails, at offshoreinsiders.com. Even check out how you can get free odds comparisons. www.offshoreinsiders.com.